Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the third installment of our Transportation Thursdays with the Space Coast TPO. Today, we're going to be talking about intelligent transportation systems and traffic operations. Historically, the Space Coast TPO has had a long-standing relationship with our traffic operations agencies and has been a strong supporter of intelligent transportation systems. And so today we're hoping to give you a little bit of a glimpse into what the daily operations look like in keeping all of the things on the roadside that everyone's safety depends on functional and operational. And then so just a quick overview. I'm sure most people are familiar with GoToWebinar by now since we've done so many virtual meetings. But if you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat and we will take questions towards the end. We are recording today's webinar and it will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel shortly afterwards. So you can share it or watch it back to see if you missed anything. And you can also raise your hand if you wish to speak at the end. We will call on you and you can unmute yourself so you can ask questions in person. And then so just to make sure everyone's familiar with intelligent transportation systems, I'm going to give a quick overview. And then we're going to take a look into the 3 different traffic management centers that we have in our area and hear from our speakers what the day-to-day operations looks like in each one of those facilities. And then we're going to talk some more towards the end about preparing for the future of transportation. And then we'll have some time for some discussion and questions with our panelists. And so just getting into a quick overview of what intelligent transportation systems are. This is the use of technology to make our roadways more efficient and safe. As in the transportation planning world, it's become increasingly difficult to just continue to widen roadways. So this is a short-term, quicker way that we can better utilize the infrastructure that we already have existing today and can maximize the throughput on our roadways. And so if you look inside the traffic controller, not many people realize how much stuff is actually inside of those silver or black boxes as you drive through every intersection. At the heart of the operations in those cabinets is a traffic signal controller. And then you might see some closed circuit TV cameras along the roadways. And then increasingly, you're starting to see more and more roadside units pop up around Central Florida. And these are actually units that will communicate directly with your vehicles when the technology is there in your vehicles or some other device to communicate directly with the infrastructure. And so I mentioned the TPO, we supported the expansion and intelligent transportation system programs over the years. And so we've got quite a robust network here in Brevard. We've got over 180 miles of fiber optic cable, which links all of the devices and the communication in our traffic management centers together. We've got over 100 dynamic message signs, over 123 closed circuit cameras, 100 microwave vehicle detectors, and over 400 connected signals. And then so that's just a quick overview, but I have a video here that will do a little bit better job of explaining ITS and some of the things that could be coming down the pipeline than I do.
Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization here with some technorific news about the current state of our area's growing intelligent transportation system and how our tax dollars can transport us into a safer and even more money-saving, tax-saving, and connected future. All of the intelligent transportation technologies we'll see, current, coming, and future, enable our local travelers to be better informed and make safer, more coordinated, and smarter use of transportation networks while saving money, fuel, and time. Most importantly, our intelligent transportation system will save our local tax dollars in the long run. We'll look at the technologies that are currently deployed, the new tech that's already on the way, and some future tech that's truly game-changing if we choose to adopt it. Let's take a little trip to a local intersection and look at the technologies currently deployed there. Here, we see the intersection of Pineda Causeway and Wickham Road. Let's look at our already deployed closed-circuit television, known as CCTV, and vehicle detection sensors working alongside the high-speed network beneath our feet, and then add in the future possibilities. There's more to our intelligent transportation system than meets the eye, as CCTV allows traffic management staff to get a real-time look at traffic flow and watch for accidents. Vehicle detection with its special sensors automatically detects the presence of vehicles and obstructions on the roadway and instantly warns the management center. Meanwhile, our already on the way crosswalk detection software will use similar vehicle detection sensors to check for people in the crosswalk and warn oncoming traffic day or night and in all weather conditions. Now, let's add in some other existing possibilities like Bluetooth technology, which can detect the speed of vehicles entering and exiting the roadway. The Traffic Management Center now not only sees the intersection, but has much deeper traffic flow data to use for safety and roadway improvements. Speaking of traffic management centers, our new traffic management center is being envisioned as we speak. We're really excited about it. It's the brains of this entire operation, after all. Let's travel to another location and look at some more future possibilities. This is the intersection of US 192 and Hollywood Boulevard. In addition to the technologies we've already seen, this intersection employs another modern technology called signal coordination. Signal coordination uses the vehicle detection sensors to allow other intersections upstream and downstream to communicate with each other and work together to predict traffic flow and adjust the signals, improving traffic flow and saving travelers even more time and money. With the addition of roadside units, direct communication with vehicles becomes possible, providing instant traffic notifications like red light wait times. And with onboard units installed in vehicles, the possibilities are even greater, as vehicles could then communicate directly with each other and the surrounding infrastructure, increasing travel efficiency, safety, and hopefully less road rage. And of course, high above the hustle and bustle, next-generation drones could not only ferry our online purchases, but provide first responders a bird's-eye view of accidents, or even provide updates to your smartphone about foot traffic at a concert, festival, or rocket launch. Of course, new technology is an investment. Our hardware must be updated, maintained, and secured in order for future components to integrate seamlessly, in the same way that we wouldn't hook up a supercomputer to a dial-up internet connection. In the present and in the future, all of these technologies acting together increase safety, optimize our existing infrastructure, and save taxpayers time and money. Well, what are you waiting for? Get involved and support the future of our intelligent transportation system. Let your local elected officials know that you support enhanced traffic operations. Learn more at spacecoasttpo.com. Thanks for watching.
All right, and so as I mentioned, that video does a little bit better job than I do at explaining what intelligent transportation systems are and how they're utilized. And so that video is available on our YouTube channel if anyone online would like to share it with anyone. I think it's a really good way to reach out to the public and explain things a little better. So one of the things mentioned in the video was our Transportation Management Center. And many people might not know that we actually have 3 that have a huge effect in Brevard on how our transportation, traffic, and everything is operated, and it keeps everybody moving safely and efficiently. And so the regional one is the Florida Department of Transportation District 5, which is located up in Sanford. And Brevard Counties is in Vieira at the Government Center, and the city of Melbourne is on Harper Road, right next to the airport. And so all of these transportation management centers are linked, rely on the work that each one does, and a lot of us don't realize how much goes into keeping everything going in these centers, and the work that it takes to keep us moving safely and efficiently. So the first Transportation Management Center we're going to hear more about is the Florida Department of Transportation Regional Traffic Management Center in Sanford. And so I'm going to show a quick video of an overview of that facility, and then Mr. Jeremy Dilmore is going to give us a deeper dive into some of the daily activities that happen in that facility.
This is the Regional Transportation Management Center. This state-of-the-art facility is the nerve center for transportation management in 9 Central Florida counties. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, operators at the RTMC monitor traffic conditions on 795 miles of freeways and state roads. Live feeds from hundreds of traffic cameras and data sensors provide information on traffic flow, average speeds, travel times, and incidents. If a crash occurs, the RTMC operators work to minimize congestion and secondary crashes by quickly dispatching road rangers and communicating with police, firefighters, and medical responders. When there is an incident on a major roadway, drivers may detour to arterial roads. The RTMC operators have the ability to adjust traffic signal timing, keeping the traffic lights green longer to help facilitate the increased volume of traffic. Using the latest technology, monitoring the roadways, keeping drivers informed, this is how the Regional Transportation Management Center is making our roadways as efficient as possible. For more information, visit cflsmartroads.com.
All right, and so again, videos are great, especially for the public to get a good idea of everything that goes on in easier ways. So that's another video that can be shared. And so Jeremy Dilmore is going to give us a closer look into some of those things that happen in the Transportation Management Center. And Jeremy is the Transportation Systems Management Operations Program Engineer for the Florida Department of Transportation District 5. Jeremy, I will advance the slides for you. So take it away. And I think you're still muted there.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Sorry about that, guys. So going ahead and taking a look at the services that we currently offer from the Traffic Management Center. When we look at it, we generally break this down into 3 different categories. One is freeway management, the other is taking a look at arterial management, and then jumping into integrated corridor management. On the freeway management side of things, really the bread and butter, what kind of began the program was looking at incident management. As video was talking about, we share information with FHP. They share CAD information, lets us know when they see crashes. We go ahead and are able to use our cameras and our sensors on the roadway in order to determine where we see crashes actually occurring. And then going ahead and sharing the video back to them helps them to dispatch the right kind of equipment to the right location. You'd be surprised how often drivers indicate they're on the wrong side of the roadway, or how often they go ahead and send us information that they may be miles off from where they're actually located. We have especially severe crashes. We are able to then coordinate to be able to close ramps in order to go ahead and bring the fire responders potentially on from a wrong way direction, so they can actually access the incident safely. By keeping an eye on the roadway, we're able to coordinate, basically, and quarterback a lot of the work that's going on in terms of incident command. Obviously, one of the other thing that's out there is road rangers. I think most folks are aware of this, and we're happy that we're able to bring that service into Brevard County, where we go ahead and are able to ask our road rangers to be there to respond, to set up maintenance of traffic, to be able to go ahead and put those cones down, have the positive direction of traffic around an incident until our first responders show up and take over the scene. One of the things that's rolling out now is wrong way driving. If you've seen that around the Central Florida areas, primarily on CFX and Florida's Turnpike roadways, what that's looking at is when someone is entering the interstate off of an exit ramp, it has a flashing sign that actually alerts them of saying you're going the wrong way, and then connects the information back to the TMC for us to be able to track that vehicle, to be able to share that information with our FHP partners to try to go ahead and handle that issue as quickly as possible, while we use our dynamic message signs to warn approaching drivers of the potential of a wrong way driver headed in their direction. Express lane pricing, this is something, and wrong way is coming to the Brevard County area. Those packages are being delivered now through current projects. When we start looking at express lanes, this is primarily in the Orange and Seminole County area, and we've not really talked about expanding that over into your area, but this is about us adjusting the actual pricing in order to try to manage the congestion on those lanes. So this is not a revenue generation technique, but one that attempts to affect the choice of time of day of travel and lanes of travel in order to reduce congestion. Ramp metering, that's about trying to reduce the number of vehicles that are coming onto our freeway system and making sure that by keeping that number at a managed consistent level, that the interstate doesn't break down. By the interstate not breaking down, it can actually deliver more traffic than it otherwise could. So we actually can move more vehicles through a ramp by going ahead and controlling their flow than what we can if we go ahead and just let them free flow on. That's in the downtown Orlando area. There's not any current plans to put that into Brevard County. On the arterial management side, we don't do anything by ourselves. This is all about the connection, the different TMCs that Stephen went ahead and showed. It's about us going ahead on our side. We look at maintenance checks, we do retiming, and we work on putting flush patterns into place. But if we see an incident, what we're doing is we're going ahead and coordinating, with Scott, we're working with Brandon, we're talking with Rich and Karina about actually going through and implementing the different timing patterns in order to adjust for the change traffic conditions. So the actual control of those, you'll hear later, is actually coming from their centers, but our ability to connect and share information is really critical. Trying to adjust the arterial management with the freeway management is something called integrated corridor management, and that's one of the things that we look at from the level at the Transportation Management Center here at FDOT. Stephen, do you mind going to the next slide, sir? So I mentioned all this happens through partnership. We go ahead and work together on a regular basis. We share communication. There's actually some slides that were in some of those presentations that talk about that high-speed connection between it. I don't get any information from traffic signals directly. I get all of that through the other TMCs. And then when we look at them getting information about what's going on the freeway, that comes from the department over to the local agencies. We go ahead and also share software. So I don't have my own license to things. They don't have their own license to things. We share things amongst each other in order to make it more efficient, more cost effective for the public. The other thing that we really have done is been able to share lessons learned when we're deploying this new technology. As you can imagine, as many times you may have tried to go ahead and set up new technology at your house, it's the same kind of condition. There's lessons learned in each deployment about what we can and can't do, and we get together and make sure that happens regularly and make sure that we're all learning the lessons one time rather than having to do it with each new project or with each new agency. Do you want to go ahead and jump to the next one, Stephen? When we start looking at emerging technology, there was some of that was in Stephen's video talking about connected vehicle. That's one of the biggest things that we've looked at investing in from the FDOT side. We've already set our center up to handle is the data management. So we've been able to scale out to have enough server space in order to take care of this. For a comparison, our old center used to have around 4 to 5 racks of space. The new one has around 35. So we've tried to build with data management in mind, the idea of having enough application servers in place to make this happen, and to certainly look at security to make sure that we're communicating in a way between our centers in order to make sure we have that we're protecting the data that we are collecting through our communication systems. You'll see the initiatives that are on the right there. There's Greenway, which is trying to go ahead and use this type of technology to get you to work easier with more choices. with less of delay. And then we look at PedSafe, and this is about us trying to improve pedestrian safety. There was some of that was also mentioned in Stephen's video about trying to detect the pedestrian and be able to form warning messages, both to the pedestrian and to the driver, to try to prevent those conflicts. Do you mind going ahead and jump into the next one, please, sir? So when we talk about benefits, there's the idea of reduced secondary crashes. Again, that's when we have a crash that happens, and then because there's backup that's occurring, we have folks that are approaching at high speed. They don't realize that there's a slowdown in front of them. So there ends up being a second crash. That's the secondary. We also have looked at reducing crashes by wrong way driving, by going ahead and providing those warnings. That's been a huge success of reducing those high severity incidents. We're also looking at reducing that incident duration by having the right information to our first responders. They can go ahead and get with the right equipment on the scene in the right place, so they're able to go ahead and help clean up that crash sooner. Our road ranger assists are a direct benefit. When you go ahead and run out of gas on the interstate, when there's a breakdown that you have, they can assist you to get back going, getting off the interstate and going ahead and returning to your trip. When we try to adjust our signal timing, either for congestion that's reoccurring or from like a one-time event such as a launch, what we're able to do is then try to minimize that delay by providing more advantageous signal timing for those conditions. So those are all key benefits that come from the program areas that we've got with current technology. Obviously with connected vehicle, that would expand our capabilities going forward. Do you mind going into the next slide, please, sir? When we start looking at challenges that we face, certainly all of this work is complex and it's an ever-changing environment. As you've seen, we try to put mitigation measures in place by the communication that happens regionally, and by making sure that we're making strategic investments, about making sure we're investing in the right technology. One of the challenges we've seen, not just statewide, but we've seen across the US really is staffing. You have great staff here with the local agencies, but really being able to retain that staff and making sure that they're passing on knowledge to the next group of people that are coming in is really a key factor in trying to go ahead and make sure that these systems stay up and running. None of this technology runs itself. It all takes a very qualified professional in order to be able to keep it moving. Oftentimes it takes a team to make these things happen. The other thing that you look at is TMCs in the past were built with siloed roles and responsibilities, and as those have forked out and there's been more and more things that we can do with technology, you have to make sure that you're looking at a center that's built for the future, that's considering the emerging technology that's there and handling those expanded roles. Sorry, Stephen, you want to jump onto the last slide that's there? And if you want to learn more about what's going on within FDOT, we've got a lot of information up on our website. It was referenced in the video, but you can see it here. It's cflsmartroads.com. We try to put as much information as we can and provide actually access to our data that's being captured by these centers so you can see it for yourself. With that, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Stephen. Thank you all very much.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. And as you can see, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes at the regional level. And then so getting down to the county level, we will hear from Mr. Rich Adaman with Brevard County. He is the Intelligent Transportation Systems Operator and Network Systems Administrator. So Rich, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Jeremy, for great information you're providing. Jeremy has touched on a lot of great points. I'm going to kind of be reiterating some of those. I really appreciate the partnership we have with the local municipalities along with the DOT. So you might go there you go. I'm going to give a brief overview of our signal operations and also our TMC operations. So Brevard County is traffic operations service area is from Mims to Sebastian. Brevard County is a county that's 72 miles long. We cover 1,554 square miles total. So it's quite a bit of area to cover. Our signal shop group is located in Merritt Island currently, although we are moving to a new facility, hopefully in the November, December timeframe. which will be on the mainland. So we'll get off the barrier island, and we'll have a better area to work out of, and we'll be located right around the new Pineda overpass, Pineda Causeway. Currently, our signal shop group, our signal technicians and staff, we have 8 folks that work within the group. We have 2 additional positions that are currently open. Those positions break down to currently 4 field signal technicians, 1 field supervisor. We have a warehouse bench technician, a locator technician, an ITS technician, and 2 field signal positions that are currently vacant, as I mentioned. At our Viera TMC, we currently employ 1 traffic engineer and the TMC operator, which is myself. We also have consultant support. From time to time, folks come in to work on a variety of different projects. So the TMC gives us the opportunity to have those folks in and take care of things as needed. You can move to the next slide, please. The Brevard Traffic Signal Maintenance Group currently maintains 351 traffic signals throughout the county. We have 221 of them which are connected through the Intelligent Transportation System. They're broken down to 188 FDOT signals, 132 Brevard, and 31 city. We do maintenance for some local municipalities who do not have a traffic staff on, so we partner with those folks and maintain their signals. We also have 24 RRB crosswalks that we maintain. These are the rectangular rapid flashing beacons that you see driving down A1A. Each crosswalk could have 2 to 4 beacon types. We maintain 121 school flashers. These are speed warning flashers that advise motorists of a school that's letting out. We have 33 electronic warning flashers. These are speed warning flashers or curve flashers that you see in the roadways. We have over 700 street lights that we maintain throughout the county, and 1,000+ ITS connected devices. Those devices are network switches and so forth. Provide traffic signal operations. Their primary focus is public safety. You know, we are here to keep all the infrastructure running correctly and make sure that our motoring public has the best possible experience driving our roadways. The group maintains all of the traffic infrastructure and repairs. They also we do equipment testing at the shop. These folks also do all of our preventive maintenance at all the locations. We are first responders, and during storm events, our folks are out on the roadways before most anyone else to make sure that the signals come back online and everything is operating as best as possible in normal conditions. We do have a 2-hour or less response time. That is something that we adhere to. We want to make sure that we have the signals operating as soon as possible. So all the technicians are geared up to do any repairs as quick as possible. We're also a 24/7 by 365 operation. So we have an on-call technician that is available every single day. They're dispatched after hours through the EOC, and they respond to issues in that arise, no matter whether it's a cabinet knockdown or a traffic signal and flash or even a bulb out at nighttime. So we're available all the time to make sure that these systems are running correctly. Next slide, please. The TMC Operations, and this is the Viera office. We have a group of folks that either consultants or with the partnership with the DOT. We do arterial management, traffic incident management, flush pattern implementation, remote signal diagnostics, vehicle detection monitoring, and also provide technician support and dispatch from this office during normal business hours. We also provide a consultant workspace for our folks. So it allows us to very quickly identify issues in the field and then react to those issues, whatever it may be, whether it's remotely updating information at that particular traffic signal and getting it back to normal operation, or identifying a problem and dispatching a technician and advising them of the problem prior to them even getting on site. So the TMC has definitely improved our ability to manage our vast infrastructure needs. Next slide, please. So some of the success stories, excuse me, that I can speak about. Recently, in the last couple of years, we implemented a real-time electronic work management system. This has allowed us to put equipment into the technician's hands and provide much better documentation. It allows us to see real-time what's going on at each location as the signal technicians respond to issues or even just day-to-day operations. They're logging and tracking the information. So our iWork system allows us to very quickly identify issues that may have happened in the past, or understand what's going on in the field in a real-time environment. And that has been one of the pieces that has allowed us to continue to grow and maintain a higher level of service with all of the infrastructure that we have. We've also employed a central management system for our signals, which is our ATMS.now. For all the connected ITS system traffic signals, we are able to access the physical controllers, understand how the signal is operating, pull reports on the signals, and manage them in real time. And this has also been a real benefit for us. In the past, we would get a complaint about a traffic signal. A technician would have to drive out, try to figure out what the problem is. Today, we can actually access that traffic signal in real time at the time of the complaint, try to identify the problem, and then provide a solution to the problem if the problem exists. So the central management system allows us to do that. We also have a signal retiming program that has been implemented. In years past, we didn't have the necessary funding to do signal retimings at the level that is necessary. A few years ago, that funding was made available, and we've been steadily retiming signals as needed. This type of process allows us to provide better coordination between signals and overall better traffic system for the motoring public. Our ITS expansion, the ability for us to interconnect all these signals has made it, as I mentioned, easier to overall manage all of our infrastructure. So the ITS expansion is something that we continue to work on, and it's the intelligent transportation system has made given us the tools to, like I said, manage our infrastructure in real time. It's something we did not have in the past. And then lastly, our FDOT partnership. The Regional Traffic Management Center and Brevard work hand in hand. We have access to these systems in real time. So it's been a really good partnership, and it's something that allows us to be very effective with managing the variety of issues that arise, and also just providing good maintenance to our signals. So next slide, please. Some of the challenges that we are facing, as Jeremy mentioned, staffing is an issue. Traffic industry is a niche field. It's not like you can, not like other industries where you can just hire someone who's already trained. So finding personnel to, either on the signal level to be able to maintain traffic signals, or at the TMC level be able to manage the infrastructure is not an easy task. It's important for us to maintain our staff and have qualified personnel. It is one of the challenges that we face. Funding, the funding is always a challenge. The costs continue to increase. Our infrastructure continues to increase. So it's important for us to understand that we need to fund these systems properly. And that's something that we're continuously challenged with. Our arterial capacity limitations. This is where ITS comes in. We're continuously challenged with population growth, more and more vehicles on the roadways, and overall growth in the county. These limitations cause us to, try to react as best as possible and address the problems that do happen with more traffic. But it's something that we need to constantly adapt to. So that's one of the challenges that we face. And lastly, new construction projects. New construction projects bring in additional infrastructure. We also have to deal on the contractor side with having to keep up with all this growth. So these are some of the challenges that we face in Brevard. Next slide, please. The key to our future successes. So our future TMC, one thing that we do have in the planning stages right now is our future TMC, which will allow us to better manage our traffic infrastructure. Having adequate resources, and resources such as, service personnel, equipment to maintain the actual infrastructure, and funding. So those are key pieces to us being able to manage the growth. Collaboration with local municipalities. This is something that as we continue to grow, it's important that we work together with all of the local municipalities within Brevard County to maintain good partnerships and understand what we are all doing so we can all manage these systems properly. Planning for expansion. We definitely need to continue to plan for expansion. Fortunately, we have the TPO, we have the DOT folks, and we also have excellent staff here at Brevard. So the planning continues. We understand how we move forward. Efficiency gains with new technology. As new technology develops, we're going to try to use it to the best of our ability and try to, improve our processes as we move forward. And then lastly, our FDOT partnership. We couldn't have gotten to this point without FDOT. We really value what we do together. So those are the key to our future success. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate all the hard work that you and your team have done for Brevard. So getting down to our next speaker is Mr. Brandon Collins. He works for the city of Melbourne. He is the Advanced Traffic Management System Coordinator, Level 3. And Brandon is one of the key people responsible for keeping things moving in the Melbourne area. So Brandon, take it away.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the TPO for having me as a speaker, and I definitely want to compliment Rich and Jeremy on their production. They did a really good job. I think Rich has covered a lot of what we do already. I'll kind of try to stick to what we specifically do that might be a little different, or our day-to-day operation. As you can see, there's a map up right now that Stephen has pulled up that basically gives you our maintenance responsibilities. We have 25 traffic signals within the city of Melbourne that belong to the city. We maintain 42 signals for the state, which is a grand total of 67 traffic signals. We are a smaller agency, but it gives us the opportunity to have a well-managed system. So if you want to go to the next slide, Stephen. Okay, so I'm going to speak on our day-to-day operations. Typically, our day starts out with, we fire up the TMC. We do a general overview of the network. We look to make sure that we have communications to all our 67 signals. We check the PTZs, make sure that everything's operational, traffic's flowing. We also check our alarm screens. We run a real-time, as most TMCs do, of our detection systems. And basically what we're essentially doing there is we're trying to catch any vehicular detection or pedestrian detection failures or faults. If we see that, those would be dispatched to the 2 technicians that we have, and they'll go out and do a diagnosis of what the issues are. The goal here is to try to resolve the issue as soon as possible so that the motoring traffic are not hindered on their way to work, to school, or wherever they may be traveling. And every day we have scheduled the activities that are just a day-to-day given. And those are basically essentially PMs of the traffic cabinets, monitoring signal projects, construction projects, whatever we have going on. We have, right now, currently we have some signal projects going on, as well as the rest of the county. And then we have ITS expansion project going on currently. And it does require the maintaining agency to monitor these projects quite regularly, because that just ensures that we're going to get a good product. Most contractors are trying to do that, but every agency has their forte, so to speak. So that's pretty much our day-to-day operation. You want to move to the next slide, Steve? Okay, I'm going to speak on our successes here at the City of Melbourne. We've been very successful with the retiming efforts. I think they date back to about 2015, maybe prior, but every 3 years, the traffic signals here within the city, the main arterial roads, are retimed by a consultant. And sometimes that's a joint effort, with the staff will be involved as well, with questions or concerns by the consultant. But this effort is to basically optimize the traffic flow throughout the city of Melbourne and even into the county signals. We also built the TMC that you see behind me in 2019. That was a joint effort with our facilities department and staff in-house. We've been struggling with keeping up with the network when it comes to the wireless side of things. So as this ITS expansion project is coming aboard, it's giving us the opportunity to have more real-time alarms. We can make changes on the fly. It also allows us to optimize the traffic flow on the arterial roads when we do see an issue, specifically right now with the Brightline train. It's thrown some curveballs at us, and with this TMC and with the technology that we've been able to implement, it has given us an opportunity to be more prepared for those kind of situations. We also in 2019 created the TMC operator position, which I currently now hold, and that opened up another field tech position. So now we currently have 3 staff working in the field or in the operator here, and then we have a traffic manager. So with that, we're staffed, I think, appropriately for what we have right now. As the technology grows and as the infrastructure grows, that may bring along more positions in the future, but currently our staffing is very manageable for what we have. So I'm very thankful for that, and it actually does help the motoring public as well with all the day-to-day activities that I spoke on before. I also would like to say that with this ITS expansion, FDOT has been a huge part of that partnership that Rich had spoke on prior. It's very important in this industry specifically that the local agencies communicate with amongst each other, and the FDOT supports the local agencies, and we support their efforts. FDOT has a lot of initiatives that they're working towards, and that partnership is highly important between all three, us, the county, and the state. And so I look forward to further working with those initiatives and advancing our traffic technology. Stephen, you want to go to the next slide? Okay, speaking on challenges, this slide here specifically shows a aerial shot of Grumman, which is a large government contractor, but those type of organizations are popping up everywhere. And with that, it brings a lot of employees, and those employees typically all drive to their job. So that influxes our roadways, and the impacts are sometimes can be pretty severe. So that's why it's very important that we do our retiming efforts. We make sure we budget and work with these corporations on impacts to the roadways. And if a traffic signal is needed, we'll have to work with them and maybe get assistance with funding on those, because, you know, that's like Rich said, the funding is not always the easiest thing to get. And it does take an effort amongst a lot of individuals behind the scenes to make things like that happen. So that's one of our biggest challenges, is a lot of the growth, residential and commercial. I would like to speak on signal projects. Those are continuing. We're always working on improving our infrastructure. The city currently has a mast arm plan, and we have 20 intersections currently that are mast armed. We have one under construction, one under design, one was just bid. And with all that said, we're going to have 4 span intersections left. What that does for us as a maintaining agency is it alleviates a lot of the worry when we have these hurricanes, because the span wire intersections typically do not fare well, and the mast arms are built for that. So it just helps on the maintenance side, but it also provides a little more safe and secure infrastructure for the motoring public. The other challenge we have is, like Rich said also, getting experienced staff, or on the other side, experienced contractors. Our contractors aren't always the most technical. They're not the most involved and up to date with the technology. Some of our contractors don't even have a laptop or a computer to even do any of the work that's necessary. So, you know, they're specific to construction. They build the intersections. And so it's a lot of work, and unfortunately, the maintaining agency sometimes is involved with being on site and assisting these contractors to have a successful project. Those are some of the biggest challenges we're seeing right now in the contractor side. Is they're seeing the same thing that the agencies are seeing. We do not have the experienced help out there that we need coming forward. And that's why it's going to be highly important that our vocational schools, our trade schools, looking hard at having training classes for this. And I know DOT is working on doing some training classes, and they're going to have sessions open to all maintaining agencies, contractors, all that. So I think that that initiative is very important moving forward for everyone to be successful. I'm going to move to the next slide, Steve. Okay, the keys to Melbourne's future success, as it's been pounded in today, the ITS expansions throughout the county, the city, those are all going to be very vital for the technology and to be successful with the local agency and FDOT's initiatives. We currently have a lot of wireless communication, but wireless is also susceptible to environment. So we are making plans to upgrade to a better, more robust wireless system throughout a lot of our traffic signals. But we also have to fund that. So it takes time. And sometimes the funding doesn't come for 2-3 years. So that's where your relationships with FDOT and the Transportation Authority, you know, the TPO can help out a lot with enhancements. And so, you know, that's where the local agencies really appreciate that connection, because sometimes the funding isn't available for us through our internal network, so we have to get it outside. And that's where those relationships come important. And being connected with our local agencies, like working with Brevard, you know, finding out what their goals are, what their initiatives are, and running that back and forth so that, you know, if somebody's doing something, hey, I'm doing this over here, could help you. Oh yeah, put this in. And so, you know, a lot of that's going to be huge in the future. Active arterial management is going to be pounded. You know, that's where everything's going. We are currently doing it the best that we can with the limited connectivity that we have, because like I said, the wireless networks aren't always as 100%, and it limits us on bandwidth. So we are really excited to bring on this ITS expansion. It's going to give us the opportunity to be more proactive and less reactive, because when we do see something, we can start making those changes and you know, just try to improve the motorists' travel. And the other thing is staffing. And so I think that's going to be pretty much it for me.
Great, thank you, Brandon. Great presentation and great work in Melbourne.
Thank you for having me.
And so, as you can tell, just hearing from our different agencies that you know, keep all of our existing transportation up and running, there's a lot that goes into all of this stuff. And so, looking at the future of transportation, there's even more coming down the road as more things get connected. Pretty soon, your vehicles will communicate directly with the traffic signals, as well as hopefully pedestrians and bicyclists and other vehicles, to give more information to drivers to keep everyone safer. And so as more things and technology advances, more and more staff and funding is going to be needed to continue adequate maintenance. And so just to put this in a perspective for everyone, if you just think of the changes in technology from 2015 to today that you might have in your pocket then and now, a lot has changed just between, you know, having the iPhone 6 in 2015 and the iPhone 12 now. And if you just think of the updates and everything that's involved in your phone, it's probably 1,000-fold when you look into all the different devices that are alongside the roads when it comes to updates and maintenance. And so the technology in vehicles is increasing, automatic braking is becoming standard, lane assist, heads-up displays are becoming more common, so you don't even have to look down at your dashboard, and backup and rear cameras are pretty much standard. And so their vehicles are getting smarter, and so we need to make sure our infrastructure, it gets smarter as well, so we can continue to make everything run efficiently and safely. And so one of the key things that Rich mentioned in helping with this transportation future is having a new transportation management center. And so the county is currently funding design. It is underway. We're still looking to fund construction. It's estimated to be around $10 million, and it's number 2 on our TPO project priority list. And so the TPO is looking to be housed in this facility as well. And we really want to utilize the data and the collaborative environment with all the agencies to be able to come work under one roof to help analyze where there's issues and maybe be able to help with planning of the future funding that our partner agencies need. And then so some of the future success factors, there's a lot of work still to be done. All of our local agencies have done a great job and continue to do so on a daily basis. But in order to really be ready, we really need to work on getting our local operations committee going so we can have more of one voice of what our needs are as a county back up to DOT and to our TPO. Continue to prioritize maintenance and operations. I think we heard staffing levels 3 times in each person's presentation. So we're going to see what we can do to help support that, as well as those regional initiatives that Jeremy touched on. DOT has done a great job at establishing a framework for us all to work off of and common goals to work towards. We need to continue to fund network improvements and hardware upgrades because, again, all of those things need to be maintained, updated, and have communication. Work towards the goal of active arterial management, and that's really being able to have someone operating those signals and making changes in real time. And then I also mentioned utilizing the data that these systems are generating. They're generating massive amounts of data, everything from traffic counts to speed data that are all information that we can use from a TPO level to plan for the future. And then a really big deal that we all, I think, need to work on, everybody on the webinar today can do this, is increase the public awareness of all the great things that our partner agencies are working on. We all depend on traffic operations to work reliably on a day-to-day basis to keep us safe, and it's really something we kind of all take for granted. So we need to make sure we do a good job at celebrating our successes and showing appreciation to all of the great work that our agencies do. And so with that, we can open it up for any questions that we might have. And so I see one up here that is asking. I'll let anybody jump in on this one. It's not directed to anyone individually. If I could ask all of our panelists to turn on their cameras. We have a question about intersections not allowing traffic to move when there's no traffic in the opposing lanes for prolonged periods. Could there be an explanation as why that might be being seen, and how might you guys handle that?
Rich, you want to elaborate?
I think you're on mute, Rich.
Sorry about that. Hang on, I'm trying to pull up the question. I don't see the
Yeah, so basically if someone's sitting at an intersection and there's no one coming in the opposing direction, how come they're having to wait so long on the side streets?
Okay, so more than likely it could be a couple things. It could be a detection failure, but most of the time, if it's a coordinated intersection, there's a cycle time that needs to run out before the opposing movement can go. So in coordinated traffic signals, the objective is to try to move as much traffic on the main line as possible. Unfortunately, that has some side effects. When there's low volumes of traffic, there's still a cycle time that needs to expire before the side traffic will be able to move, and sometimes that is the main issue of why folks are having to sit a little longer on the side streets.
Thanks, Rich.
If you have anything to add to that, I'd appreciate it.
I would just add that, so the chord plans like you covered, or the adaptive system could be holding the main line running its program schedule. But we also, as we spoke earlier on the vehicle detection, pedestrian detection, if we have failures in that nature, it can extremely affect an intersection, and especially in the wee hours of the night when we're not running coordination plans, it's definitely going to hold. And a lot of times that's more the main street or the side street than the main street. But that's why we do what we do. We have to evaluate what the issues are. So when a citizen sees an issue like that, it's important that we get great detail on what they're seeing, when they're seeing it, and we can evaluate that problem and see if it's something that's supposed to be, like Rich said, running coordination and moving traffic down the main arterial like it's programmed to do.
And if I can add on to that, I think Rich and Brandon did a great job of answering what the problem could be. And the way that we have historically dealt with these issues, right, is that we need information from the public letting us know when there's issues so that we can go through and explore those systems, which, unlike in the past, they archive data more effectively than they used to. So we can check things like split histories. We can look at the inputs to the controller in order to determine whether it's behaving appropriately or not, knowing from the public that there's an issue. Really the next step in the evolution, and this is where things are headed to, and where our TMCs are going when we start talking about the change that's coming on the horizon, is our ability to get that information, bring that into a centralized location, and start to determine, based on the patterns in that data, when there are actually misbehaviors happening on the roadway before someone complains about them, and being able to then proactively go out there and correct the issue in advance of someone having to complain about it. And that's where I think we're all working as a profession, is to try to make it so that there's not the need for, I mean, there'll always be open to feedback, don't get me wrong about that, but that we can try to correct the issue before you have to call us to let us know what the issues are. The other thing is, when we look at timing plans, we talk about the fit and the trade-off between coordination, and when we go ahead and we step out of coord, and we actually will run things as isolated intersections or run them in what's called free. So the different modes that we can put controllers into. In order to make those decisions in the past, what we've had to look at is very small sets of data. We've had to look at it based upon the DOT, us going through and getting 2 or 3 days worth of information and coming up with a timing plan, and then taking it and putting it into place and saying, here, Rich, hey, Brandon, when the public complains, you guys go out there and tweak it and make changes to it, but we're going to base it off a very small subset of data. And where we're headed to now is our ability to look at a prolonged period of time, understand what those different trends look like, and instead of developing a small number of plans based on a small set of data, being able to create a larger set of plans across basically what we would consider in our world almost an unlimited supply of data, being able to see every day, every trend that's going on, using that detection in a more innovative way. So just to let you know, as you look to the future, these are things that we're actively working about being able to do better in order to better serve the needs of the public.
Great, thanks, Jeremy. Next question is directed to me, asking if we're starting to work at the TPO level with FDOT SunStore data sets to extract turning movement count data and supplement our existing programs. That is absolutely something we're looking to do. We're aware that there's a massive amounts of data being generated, and so we're trying to look at how we can restructure some of our performance monitoring programs, like our state of the system, to incorporate some of those new data sets, and also be able to start sharing some of the data sets that we generate as a TPO, planning level documents and everything, into the SunStore environment. And Sarah, do we have anybody else on the chat or anything? Hands raised?
I do not see any other questions.
All right, so it's a little bit of 4 minutes over. I appreciate everybody sticking in there with us. We do have a quick survey, feedback survey we'd appreciate if everyone could fill out. I do thank all of our speakers for taking the time today. They all have very busy schedules, and they probably need to go back to actually fixing things and making sure everything's operating smoothly. So thank you all for your partnership and taking the time to present today.
Thank you
for having us. You guys.
So here, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.